Tonight at 6, look at that. We are on weather alert as smoke from Canadian wildfires creating hazardous air quality yet again. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax standing by with the current outlook and when conditions will improve. U.S. Attorney Eric Barron giving an update on his Al Capone method of crime enforcement, why he says his policies are helping drive down crime in Baltimore. And the U.S. Supreme Court rules colleges cannot use race as a factor in admissions, the fallout, and why the High Court reversed decades of precedent.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
That's right. We're on weather alert tonight. You can see the blanket of haze across our region as another round of wildfire smoke moves in. It is the second code red air alert in less than a month, impacting visibility and potentially your health if you're outside for too long. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Let's get right to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax, who's tracking the haze and when we could see some relief. Jasmine?
Thanks, Mary. That's right. The entire state is under a code red air quality alert for that poor air quality, all resulting from the Canadian wildfire smoke. So if you have to be outside over the next few hours, make sure that you're staying safe and try to avoid strenuous activities as we do deal with this very poor air quality. Around the state, most of us in red, meaning unhealthy air quality, but there's actually a pocket of purple east of Baltimore, and that's for some very unhealthy air quality. But regardless of where you are, you want to make sure that you are staying safe and protecting those around you, along with your pets. This does affect them as well. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at when you can expect improved air quality, and I'll let you know about the next weather maker's chance for rain across the state in my full forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Well, a man is shot and killed while sitting in a car early this morning. Just after midnight, police responded to a scene on Will Gray Court in South Baltimore. A 35-year-old man had been shot in the back. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Anybody with information is asked to call Baltimore police. Maryland Attorney General Eric Barron is touting the success of his Al Capone method of going after violent criminals less than a year after he first made the announcement. Barron spoke to our Mackenzie Frost about the plan's progress. He says collaboration is everything.
Eric Barron says that his office is getting more creative in terms of finding ways to go after some of the most violent repeat offenders. But to do that, he says the collaboration and funding needs to remain in place. Otherwise, the same progress could be lost. Some crime numbers in Baltimore seem to be going in the right direction. Halfway through 2023, homicides are down 22%, non-fatal shootings reduced by almost 13% from this time last year. Maryland U.S. Attorney Eric Barron says it's because of the new prosecution policies stemming from his office.
Year over year, we're seeing some very positive numbers.
Touting the results now after this news conference in August of 2022.
This Al Capone model of prosecution is designed to take violent people off the streets by any appropriate legal means necessary.
That Al Capone model includes going after repeat violent offenders in an unconventional way.
I think it's fair that they be vetted for any wrongdoing that meets our priorities.
Including looking at fraud with the federal COVID relief plan. Barron creating a CARES Act strike force with the U.S. Department of Labor and Inspector General's special agents, combing through evidence, finding people charged with CARES Act fraud also have ghost guns.
It presents an opportunity to investigate and prosecute individuals who are also violent and get them out of our communities.
With the help of state funding, Barron says since September of 2022, 30 people have been indicted for federal gun crimes, including 10 charged with illegally having a gun too close to a school. Those Baltimore schools include Sandtown Winchester Achievement, Cherry Hill Elementary, Curtis Bay Elementary and Middle, Bel Air Edison Elementary, and others.
If you focus on those individuals who are repeat violent offenders or those who have reason to believe are violent and are driving the most violence, you can prevent violent crimes from happening in the future.
Good morning, everybody.
But Barron says it's not all enforcement.
I'm not saying that we're responsible for the drop in shootings, but we definitely play a part in that, and that come from the work that y'all get up and do every day.
That's helping drive down the statistics and save lives.
We're also out there with organizations, community-based organizations such as ROCA.
ROCA, working with young men, helping them stay out of the life of violence.
I'm right here by the football field.
Often going door to door, helping offer job training, skills, and a path to a better life. To maintain this level of success, Barron says the funding and collaboration must continue at every level. And he wants criminals to know his office isn't stopping.
For those who are doing violence in our communities, we're serious about giving you a break from the community and getting you help within the confines of a federal correctional facility.
If people don't want the help being offered by the U.S. Attorney's Office or other community-based organizations, Barron says that enforcement will be implemented, all in an effort to create a safer Baltimore. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Maryland-based supermarket Giant is considering closing some of its stores in Baltimore City over crime concerns. The grocery store confirmed to Fox 45 News that crime is affecting its businesses. We are told since the pandemic, theft has been way up. The store is now spending more for added security. Giant, though, has not made a final decision.
Governor Wes Moore is in Baltimore this afternoon as the area is set to receive more than $11 million to help redevelopment. The governor says that funding will help the community build past what he calls systemic breakdowns over the past decades.
We have to focus on building up entire children, communities, families, and neighborhoods. And I think the investment that's been made today and the focus that the authority has really had in taking a holistic view on economic development is exactly the kind of approach that I believe in. And it's the reason that as a state, we didn't just support it and fund it, but we are going to continue to be partners for this important work.
The governor says that money will be used across several areas, funding education, residential, neighborhoods, and public safety.
Recreational marijuana will be legal in Maryland starting this Saturday. From joints to edibles, it is a big change. Fox 45's Amy Simpson spoke to a Johns Hopkins doctor about some of the burning questions ahead of this weekend.
It's a feeling some may already know.
People use it and then they say they experience some good feelings, euphoria, sometimes relaxation. There's also the bad. People can feel anxious. They can feel paranoid.
But for those who've never dabbled with a doobie or eaten an edible, weed will be recreationally legal starting Saturday. For some, it may bring a little curiosity about cannabis. So we asked bluntly, what happens if someone uses too much?
In most cases, nothing that'll, get you to the, where I work, the ER. But very, rarely we have people that are experiencing like a lot of anxiety, a lot of paranoia, a lot of even psychosis that'll bring to the emergency department.
Dr. Andrew Stolbach, a Johns Hopkins emergency physician and medical toxicologist, with a word of caution for anyone with kids at home, saying if you buy those cannabis products, particularly edibles, lock them up just like you would with prescriptions.
Well, we call it an exploratory ingestion, right? They're not trying to hurt themselves; they're just curious. And nobody just eats one gummy, right? So you find a kid finds a bunch of cannabis gummy bears. They're going to eat a bunch of them and they get really sick.
So whether it's flour, vapes, or gummies, before getting high, some advice.
We would recommend with edibles to take a lot of caution in particular. Start low, take what they consider to be, what's labeled as like half of a dose at most, and just then leave it alone and see how they feel.
Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
We are following some breaking news. Baltimore City Police opening fire along Milton Avenue, just a block north of Patterson Park. That is in the Southeast District. There is no other information provided just yet, but we do have a reporter on the way. Video posted to the Citizen app, too graphic to share on TV, showed a person down on the street and police investigating. As soon as we have more information, we will have an update right here and of course, on foxbaltimore.com. Coming up, our weather alert coverage continues. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax has your full forecast as wildfire haze continues to hang over our city.
The Supreme Court rewriting the rules for how colleges and universities can consider race in admissions. I'm Atra El-Nashar with a look at what this means for the future of academia.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
We have breaking news. The school resource officer in Parkland, Florida, during the 2018 school massacre was found not guilty on 11 counts of child neglect and negligence. An emotional scene in a Florida courtroom as the judge read that verdict. Scott Peterson was on trial for not entering Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and confronting the gunman who killed 17 people. He faced up to life in prison if convicted.
Decades of precedent overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court today. In a 6-3 ruling, the court struck down affirmative action policies, meaning colleges and universities can no longer use race as a factor in admissions. President Biden saying diversity remains a top priority.
We need to keep an open door of opportunities. We need to remember that diversity is our strength. We have to find a way forward. We need to remember that the promise of America is big enough for everyone to succeed.
Within hours, President Biden directed the Department of Education to review practices that promote inclusion on campus. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar has been covering this breaking news throughout the day. Atra, what is the reaction that you are seeing beyond the political sphere?
Yeah. Hey, Mary. So for the petitioners, Students for Fair Admissions, and their supporters in these dual cases against Harvard and the University of North Carolina, it's certainly a win. They argued the school's consideration of race discriminated against white and Asian students. Opponents of this decision say it sets racial equality in this country back. They point to states like California, where bans on affirmative action have coincided with steep drops in racial diversity. But keep in mind, the majority opinion did not strike down the use of race altogether, but it does make it much more narrow. So now a school has to have a concrete goal, though the court did not specify what those goals need to be, to consider race. I spoke with a professor of higher education administration about these new rules. Take a listen.
There has to be, quote unquote, a logical endpoint to your program, and race cannot be used as a, quote unquote, negative or stereotype.
And Audra, we know you've been doing some research throughout the day on the ruling because of the makeup of the court. Many expected it to rule this way. It wasn't that big of a surprise. But tell us how it clashes with prior opinions.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of times the Supreme Court has actually weighed in on affirmative action. And though precedent's been set, the expert you just heard from there, Dr. Wright, has pointed out, there's nothing stopping the court from revisiting any issue. All that matters is what 5 votes end up deciding. So one really prominent case was Grutter v. Bullinger, and that was back in 2003, in which the Supreme Court, the majority opinion, ruled that the University of Michigan's use of racial preference in admissions did not violate the Equal Protection Clause. In that case, a white female applicant said she was being discriminated against when she was rejected from U of M's law school. So that was back in 2003. Ruled in the University of Michigan's favor. Then Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, she wrote the majority opinion. She was also appointed by a conservative president. She upheld affirmative action. And she said in the opinion, quote, "We expect that 25 years from now, the use of racial preferences will no longer be necessary to further the interest approved today." Now, that was 20 years ago last week, actually, not 25, but records show that O'Connor didn't actually view that as a hard deadline. But again, even if it was, it's only been 20 years since that decision, not 25. And really the big argument is society in a place racially, as far as equity goes, where you don't need affirmative action? Certainly the conservative majority, the 6 votes on the court that came down today, believes that it's not necessary. And the 3 dissenting votes think that affirmative action still is useful.
All right, Audra El-Nashar reporting for us from Washington with this tonight. Thank you.
We are in weather alert as we deal with a code red air quality alert around the state. This is all because of the wildfire smoke from the Canadian wildfires has moved into our region. You'll notice just how hazy it is in the background. You can barely see. Our visibility reduced to 2 miles, so certainly something to keep note of if you're driving this evening or tonight. 85 for the current temperature, and it's not too humid, all because of high pressure over our region. Now notice all of the state is in red for that code red air quality alert. We're mostly seeing red around the state, but there is a tiny pocket of purple indicating very unhealthy air quality, and that's just a level above for an area east of Baltimore. Regardless of where you are, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and your loved ones, avoid strenuous activities outside, and also avoid prolonged exposure outside. Our current temperatures are in the 70s and the 80s across the state. And again, not dealing with much humidity because of this high pressure system above us. Now, because of that high pressure system, we also have winds coming in out of the north, and that's what's ushering in some of that Canadian wildfire smoke. But as this high pressure system begins to move to the east and our next weather maker arrives, we will start to see a difference in that air quality through the weekend. Tonight, we'll stay nice and dry with a few clouds over the region. We start with dry weather tomorrow, and we stay dry by the afternoon. We'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds, but it's the night when the next weather maker arrives. That will lead to a few areas of showers and potential storms overnight and into early Saturday morning. Most of us start off with dry weather, but as we head later into the day, we will have the chance for a few spotty showers and storms, and our rain chances continue on Sunday, looking at another chance for scattered showers and storms. After that, our rain chances do begin to decline. Thursday looks to be mostly dry, so get ready for a few unsettled days with the daily chance for showers and potential storms. 66 for the low temperature tonight with a few clouds and hazy conditions before midnight. After that, we will start to see the air quality slightly improve. Our high temperatures reach the upper 80s and the low 90s with a good mix of sunshine and clouds. And then after that, we've got temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s, but the chance for storms as well. I'll let you know what to expect for the weekend and for the 4th of July in the 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Severe weather rolled through the upper Midwest this morning. The tornado-warned storm knocked down trees and power lines in portions of Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. Smoke from Canadian wildfires turned skies near Washington, D.C. shades of purple. And a North Dakota storm chaser says he finally got his dream shot, a mothership supercell complete with lightning and rain.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
All right, we're continuing to follow breaking news. A police-involved shooting near Patterson Park. We're going to go to Vincent Hill. He is live on the scene, just arrived. Get us up to speed, Vincent. What's going on?
Yeah, Mary, this all unfolded about 30 minutes ago. As you can see, Deputy Acting Commissioner Richard Worley is just off in the distance here. Now, we don't know all the details, but BPD did tweet out that they are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting. This crime scene is spanning quite far, several blocks. You can see investigators still combing through evidence. And again, Acting Commissioner Richard Worley is here on the scene. We do know that this is the second officer-involved shooting in about a month's time. Of course, if Acting Commissioner Worley is here, we expect him to give an update. And as soon as we get that, we'll bring it to you on air and online. For right now, we're live in Baltimore. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
We remain in a code red air quality alert today, but tomorrow, looking at unhealthy for sensitive groups. After that, we're talking moderate on Saturday and Sunday. We do have the chance for showers and storms over the weekend and into next week. You'll notice pretty steady temperatures, upper 80s and low 90s. For the 4th of July, around 90 for the high. There's the chance for a few storms during the afternoon, but it looks mostly dry for the night. 90 on Wednesday with another chance for showers and storms. We stay in the 80s and 90s after that. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. 4th of July weekend is coming up and fireworks are on everybody's mind, but the loud bangs could be upsetting, of course, for your pets. Bree Malaska from our Sinclair sister station in Toledo, Ohio, explains how to keep them safe.
Fireworks are fun for us, but for your pets, not so much.
Loud noises are what get the dogs, that it scares them just like a thunderstorm would, and they don't understand it.
So when the fireworks begin, your dog will try to hide anywhere they can find. This means for dogs left outside, they can quickly escape and become lost.
People don't realize they're leaving their dogs in their yard, or they're trying to take their dog on a walk and there's neighborhood fireworks, or they don't realize when the fireworks are. The dog gets scared, takes off and bolts.
This leads many dogs to become injured, get into fights with other dogs, and for some, never reuniting with their families. According to Cassie Bloomfield, the community outreach coordinator at Lucas County Canine Care and Control.
So they'll get out of their fence, they'll get hit by a car. We've had dogs get hung up on fences and get injured by the fence trying to get over them. So it really impacts them.
So what can you do to keep your dog safe from the festivities? First, walk them before the celebrations begin and keep them inside. But if you notice your dog is scared and not wanting attention, there's no need to worry.
They just don't understand what's happening. Some people will try to push it a little bit, and we don't want anyone to get bit. So if they're not wanting to be with you, just let them be. We don't want anyone getting hurt because their dog was just scared.
But for pet parents whose pets have never been scared of fireworks before, Dr. Barb Buford, the medical director and emergency clinician at MedVet Toledo, recommends still playing it on the safe side and keeping your pet inside to ensure even those with 4 paws can have a happy holiday.
You don't know how they're going to react if something loud goes off above your house or closer to your house. So keeping them inside on those nights where you can hear them early, just keep them in the house, keep them supervised, and try to provide distraction with them, TV, music, white noise, whatever that may take to make them feel safe.
Well, speaking of sweet dogs, finally tonight, some neglected puppies are in good hands after they were dumped into a trash can along East Baltimore Street and East Avenue. Look at this. Officer Parker with the Baltimore Police pulled the puppies out of the trash can, taking them to Barks, where they are being treated for dehydration and malnutrition. Officer Parker's prompt action definitely may have saved these puppies' lives. Oh, hopefully they're getting lots of good food. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.